DogWorks Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
You can support this podcast on patreon.com/firstpawmedia.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First Paw Coffee Company, specializing in private label premium blend coffee. If you're serious about coffee, you should check it out. First Paw Coffee's passion is high-quality, small-batch roasted coffee. They take the extra time to taste and get everything perfect before they release new blends. They aim to bring you a cup of happiness each time you pour yourself some coffee. Find out more at ak.dog/free and enter for a chance to win some First Paw Coffee prizes, a book from our collection, and tote bag. One winner will be selected at random each month. That's ak.dog/free.
Is there anything more comforting than the reassuring touch of a dog? Scientists have discovered that interacting with animals boosts levels of oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin in our brains and can even improve our immune system. These findings prove that dogs bring comfort to the people they interact with. But what exactly is a comfort dog? The term is typically used to describe a type of dog known as a crisis response dog. Crisis response dogs are different from therapy dogs and emotional support animals, or ESAs. But the distinctions can get confusing. So, we've broken it down below on this podcast episode.
From First Paw Media, sponsored by Alaska Dog Works Professional Canine Training Center in Anchorage, Alaska. This is DogWorks Radio, committed to families and their dogs to build lifelong and fulfilling relationships. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert and Michele Forto.
Hello and welcome to DogWorks Radio. This is Michele Forto and I'm the lead trainer of Alaska Dog Works. Here we help owners and their dogs have better relationships. If you are a fan of the podcast, you know that I am a service and a therapy dog trainer. In our Lead Dog Service Dog Training Program, we have helped many people around the country live more independent lives with service dogs, and in our unique Dogs Assisting with Grace, or DOGS, Therapy Dog Training Program, we have trained many dogs to help in doctors' offices, assisted living facilities, and more. Did you know that our DOGS program started out in Denver, Colorado, more than a decade ago in connection with a local church, hence the name of the program, where the congregation used therapy teams in times of crisis. This is, in a sense, is what a crisis dog is. Today, we are talking about this special type of working dog and break down the differences of the often misunderstood and mislabeled therapy, service, emotional support, crisis response, and service dogs. Let's dive in. So, what are crisis response dogs? Crisis response dogs are trained to handle stressful, crowded situations so that they can help people remain calm in disasters. Not all therapy dogs have the temperament to be crisis response dogs. These dogs assist people struggling with the aftermath of natural disasters like hurricanes, fires, floods, epidemics, and tornadoes. Teams of certified crisis response dogs and their handlers also aid individuals affected by man-made disasters. You may have seen footage of canines greeting students returning to campus after a school shooting, or heard about crisis response dogs helping communities recover from acts of terrorism. Several agencies provide certified crisis response teams to community and government organizations. When a crisis occurs, these agencies reach out to their teams to see who is nearby and available to help. John Hunt, the co-founder of Crisis Response Canines, and Gunther, his 5-year-old Rottweiler, travel across the country in response to mass shootings and disasters. The organization, based in Slickerville, New Jersey, provides mental first aid for survivors and victims and their loved ones. We can't change what happened, says Hunt, but we can certainly prompt a few smiles and conversations from those who have cried their hearts out and not wanted to interact with anyone until now. A good crisis response dog is not afraid of strangers, not bothered by crowds, outgoing but calm, trained and socialized, unbothered by loud noises such as crying or screaming, unbothered by children or adults in distress. Crisis response dogs versus therapy dogs. Therapy dogs are privately owned canines. These dogs and their owners volunteer in places like schools, hospitals, and nursing homes. Therapy dogs and crisis dogs are not considered service animals. Owners of therapy and crisis dogs do not benefit from the same legal accommodations as those with specially trained service dogs, such as guide dogs. Still, these dogs fill an important role in bringing joy and comfort to the many different people they visit. As a general rule, therapy dogs should be trained, insured, and licensed by the nonprofit that's offering their services. Therapy dogs should have a calm temperament, be unfazed by unfamiliar noises and movements, be comfortable being handled, and love people. If you think your canine companion has what it takes to be a therapy dog, check out the AKC's Therapy Dog Title Program, or you can check out our Dogs Assisting with Grace program on AlaskaDogWorks.com. Crisis response dogs versus emotional support dogs. ESAs provide comfort to their owner and only their owner. Unlike service dogs, ESAs are not trained for specific tasks or duties. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, owners of service dogs receive special accommodations for their dogs. Owners of ESAs do not. As of 2021, U.S. airlines are no longer required to accommodate ESAs as service dogs, but if the airline chooses, they may allow ESAs to travel as pets in an underseat carrier or as cargo. Owners are now responsible for any associated fees. See the AKC's Government Relations flyer for more information on this topic. While certain agencies provide certification and training for crisis response dogs and therapy dogs, an emotional support dog requires only a prescription from a mental health professional. It is important to note that there are individuals and organizations that sell service animal certifications or registration documents online. These documents do not convey any rights under the ADA, and the Department of Justice does not recognize them as proof that the dog is a service animal. Knowing the difference between a crisis response dog, therapy dog, and ESA is important. And if you own a dog with the right temperament, volunteer therapy work provides an excellent opportunity to give back to your community. One last thing, did you know the single best thing you can do is tell your family and friends about our show? Please show them how you listen and even have them subscribe so they never miss an episode. And then you guys can have a little Q&A on your own after the show. I'm Michele Forto for First Paw Media. See you next time.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company. Learn more at firstpaw.coffee.
From First Paw Media, this is DogWorks Radio. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert and Michele Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media.
Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.